Roll call, Ms. Suzanne. Mr. Todd Lambert's absent. He's at work tonight, and I haven't seen Mr. Thomas. And Mr. Thomas. There's no chair's addition. Public comment, anyone in the audience wishing to speak on a agenda item, please sign a speaker card with Ms. Suzanne.
Not ready to do that.
Well, it wasn't talked about yesterday. I mean, if we have to, is administration ready?
I'd like to ask Mr. Rue for a moment.
Mr. Rue, is administration ready for us to proceed with the courthouse bids?
Yes, sir, we are.
I offer to amend the agenda to include courthouse bids.
Second. Got a motion by Mr. McConnell, second by Mr. Hillingsbeck to add an agenda item on 2/3, and that is the courthouse bid, accepting the courthouse bids. Any questions? Any opposition? Having none, motion passes. Let's put that. Let's go ahead and make it number 25. We'll put it on all the way to the end. We'll make it 26, and adjourn will be 27. All right, Ms. Suzanne, do they have any presentations tonight? Number 6, the consent agenda, adopt the minutes of the regular meeting of July 28th. Motion by Mr. McConnell. Second by Mr. Valentine. Any questions? Any opposition? Having none, motion passes. Number 7, Parish President report. Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening, everyone. The first part of my report tonight is going to be the lengthiest report. I guess we hired URS about a year ago now, probably, to be a program project manager for the parish, and they've been working on several projects, and so Mr. Mike Paterno is here tonight with URS to give a report to all of you on some of the things that they're doing. And following that, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask him, and then we'll have 2 or 3 other quick items we'll talk about under my report that I'll make. Okay, Mike.
Thank you, Ronnie. First off, let me thank everybody. It's for the opportunity to work with the parish. It's been a pleasure. We appreciate and certainly look forward to continued relationship. I have with me tonight Mr. Tom Dawson and Mr. Tom Hunnam. Mr. Dawson is our DPW specialist and right-of-way specialist. Mr. Tom Hunter is one of our senior transportation planners. The report is very brief. I didn't include all of the details. Certainly, I'm happy to sit with you guys individually or collectively to go over any of the details that you want to in the report. But just briefly, want to go over some of the many things that we worked over just to bring everybody kind of up to speed. As Ronnie said, a little bit over a year. I believe it was October, November last year that you guys brought us on. Number 1 was the Ascension Parish Transportation Implementation Plan Evaluation. The gist of that was that the parish consulted with us to ascertain the current and future transportation needs of the parish, specifically the Baton Rouge Metropolitan Area Transportation Implementation Plan, or what they call the TIP, and the Long Range Transportation Plan, or LRTP. There are many different components of LDOTD and the federal highway programs and many different funds and projects. It's been our experience that if we don't stay on top of these, if the parish doesn't stay on top of them, or we're not prepared for regional planning commission meetings, etc., then you always don't get the dollars that you truly deserve. And it's one of those things that the squeaky wheel always does get the grease. So fortunately for us, the administration, Mr. Bill Rue, we've stayed on top of the program. We continue to, for lack of a better term, harass DOTD and some of the federal programs to be able to bring more projects and actually get our projects elevated up to the level that we need for the parish. One of the second ones was a hazard mitigation plan. As you know, we've had some issues with the hazard mitigation plan. Basically, July this year was brought to our attention that there was a $400,000 or better grant that was lost for some projects, and it was of concern to the parish that until we get the plan approved, we would be at risk to not get some of those monies. We reviewed the program. We've met with the parish entities as well as the FEMA Region 4 and Louisiana Department of Office of Homeland Security Emergency Preparedness. We've reviewed the document in detail. We understand what the concerns are from FEMA and Homeland Security. We're also working side by side with Aegis. We've identified all the issues. We've met with all of the parties. We feel confident that you'll be able to come away with an approved plan. At the end of this month, we'll go through an oversight with Aegis to review it, and it's scheduled to be reassigned to both the state and the feds by the beginning of September or the end of this month for review and approval. Department of Public Works review. We've gone through a review of the entire Department of Public Works operation. Based on developments, trends, populations, etc., we understand that this is going to be a critical issue, infrastructure, utilities, roadways, etc., for the parish. And there is a very detailed report that is available to the council here. Again, I've just tried to keep very brief summary of the major components of what we've done. Just real briefly, some of the recommendations and key issues that are in the report were divided into several areas: information technology, infrastructure databases, such as coordination and planning of the work orders and implementation of full range of the cartograph software and training, establishing a database for maintenance equipment in the fleet, website update, canal and waterway classification program, updates on your traffic and master plans, updates on your software programs, building facility inventories, project implementation, anywhere from detailed scopings, establish consultant selection procedures, adhere to established design criteria, standardizing your programs, through workforce, professional development, encourage, implement in-house training, annual performance reviews, safety training, and on through the gambit. And again, as I noted, there is a very detailed report available that we're happy to supply and sit down in detail with you guys. The Parish Roadway Program, which we've recently got involved with. Initially, we were investigating some solutions to some issues, some of the contractor issues between the engineers, contractors, routing services, etc. We began to investigate these things. I think a lot of the engineers are very excited to get us aboard. We've run some of these same programs. Most recently, with Jefferson Parish, that was a $400 million program. We worked with many of the same engineers. They're excited about getting things standardized, value engineering, getting the biggest bang for the parish buck. It included things like the 2000 road program, the Floorlight issues, the Henderson Bayou Road, the 2005 program with AC Road right-of-way, Fife Road alignment, patching plan at Church Point, Boudreaux Road, Phase 1 plan changes, ditch problems, Joseph Area Road, utility relocations, etc. And then review plans and specifications. We're working with your current consultant engineers to begin review the programs, including 2005 road program, Boudreaux Road, Phase 1, Joseph Area Road, and others such as Roddy Road, Cannon Road, etc. And we're just beginning that program with DPW. In addition to that, of course, we'll assist the consultants and the contractors doing the construction management process, as well as reviews for the field inspection, project invoices, standardizing the construction submittal procedures, and many, many more issues. And again, we're happy to sit down and detail those with you. Water franchise agreement. As many of you know, there was a process that we went through where the Corps actually did a comparison study on both the water and sewer programs. URS, as your program manager and expert engineer, reviewed those reports, provided comments to the Corps. One of the first phases of that to move forward was actually to do a water franchise agreement. That has been completed. The draft has been completed. It has been forwarded, and I believe that committee, Woman Fontenot's on that committee, as well as Mr. Dempsey, and that meeting is anticipated, I guess, within the next 30 days of meeting. I know they had some delays in trying to get Ascension Water to the table, some out-of-town trips, etc. but that is in process right now. Trailerlands wastewater treatment plant, the warranty was actually coming due on that. So as part of the program, DPW asked us to investigate some issues, make sure the contractor put the thing together correctly, if there were any issues with the operation equipment. Some of the issues include things like the influent pump station, wastewater treatment plant filters, oxygen meter, and again, there's a detailed report on that. We reviewed that and provided a report to the DPW for their action on that. Ascension Parish courthouse lighting, HVAC investigation, and other issues. URS was requested to investigate several performance issues with the building, HVAC system, courtroom lighting, and some other investigations that had to be done. Basically, I've included here the methodology of just meeting with the judges, the building occupants, conducted tours of the building to better understand the problems. We obtained and evaluated the design documents, performed building inspections, investigations included the random light levels, HVAC, fire codes, just the gamut, full gamut of issues that came up with the judges, the buildings, the performance of the equipment. There was a very detailed report. This is now in the hands of your attorneys, who is negotiating with the architects, the contractors, and the folks that put the package together to try and get that resolved. The largest issue, the lighting, has been resolved with the design, and they're moving forward to actually install some lights that are akin to both the judges and to better the lighting in the courtroom, which was one of the big issues. So that is moving forward. And again, there is a very detailed report that the attorneys have that I'm sure they're happy to discuss with you on that. There are also some other issues that you gentlemen have asked us to look into. Again, these are in very beginning stages. We've done some very detailed analysis without going into a lot of detail because I know there is part of litigation, but that we are working on Henderson Bayou cut floodgate evaluation and the St. Amant Park Recreation trail block wall. Again, we're working closely hand in hand with the attorneys, very detailed analysis. That information has been provided to your attorney, Mr. Ricky Zabin, and we continue to work through a lot of those issues. Black Bayou bulkhead failure geotechnical evaluation, again, that was some expert witness work that we did for the council and administration. Without going into details, we reviewed that previously. A very detailed previous report has been provided to the council for their action. The right-of-way program. Several components to this. Initially, the council requested, we've gone out to for requests for qualifications to list and actually sat on several committees with the council members that were formed to go through an evaluation period, as well as looking at the existing program and some of the issues that need to be resolved as far as right-of-way acquisitions, making sure, very important, that we get the programs underway that are currently scheduled for this year's program. And I have listed here some of the issues that we've gone through that I would invite everyone to at least take a look at, go through, and again, happy to talk in detail about some of the issues that we have to work around, standardizing things, making sure that we do a little bit better job of quickening up the pace of getting a right-of-way to make sure that our road programs happen in time. In addition to that, there are appendices, the latest and greatest status on the projects, each of the individual road projects, how many properties have been acquired, how many haven't been acquired, which ones haven't been acquired, and what the issues are with it. That is in the back of the appendix for everybody's review, so you can get an update on the individual road. In addition to that, we have met with your current right-of-way consultant today, Mr. Tom Dawson. If anybody's got some follow-up questions for him, he is available after the meeting or at your leisure to discuss the details of the individual right-of-ways. Excuse me, Parker Road improvements. Again, this is one that was already provided to the council, detailed evaluation of the issues in Parker Road and some of the resident complaints and things, and acted as your expert, nonpartisan third party to go in and try and bring resolution to some of the complaints that were in there. In addition to that, as I noted, we have an appendix with a lot of the road programs, maps of the road programs, the public works program for the roads, as far as some of the standardized agreements, the draft franchise agreement, all the information that's referenced in the back of your ledger. Again, I tried to make it very brief. It does not include every detail, URS, again, thanks to council and administration for the opportunity to work with you. We continue to work through a lot of these issues. Again, trying to bring the biggest bang for the buck to Ascension Parish, and at least have available to you guys expertise to address any of the issues that come up. With that, I thank you, and certainly I'm happy to answer any questions.
Anyone have any questions for Mr. Mike? Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mike. And I just remind all of us, one of the main things we're trying to accomplish here is to prevent some of the problems of the past years from happening, so that we are investing some money and trying to do it right. And they're overseeing these projects, and you see a lot of them, they're dealing with some problems of the past that are still unresolved. Going forward, hopefully it'll be more of a proactive approach as we bid different projects, capital projects especially, that we will get them right the first time, hopefully, and prevent litigation and other problems from occurring. Also today I met with Mr. Oliver Joseph, who is the chairman of our Ascension Consolidated Utilities District Number 1. I also met with Mr. Falcon Hull following that with the Corps of Engineers Planning Division. I just want to share a few things with you to make sure you're up to date on some of these projects. This first handout is just a breakdown of the STAG grant and the Corps monies that come down to us through Section 219, which was primarily something that Congressman Richard Baker. And we get about $500,000 to $600,000 of federal dollars each year, comes down through the appropriations process to the Corps for us to use with water and wastewater. Mr. Joseph will be coming to make a presentation to you 4 weeks from tonight, the third Monday in September. We just go back for the year 2000 when the different utility districts was consolidated, go through expenses, revenues, goals, expectations of the future. People's Water came in from Baltimore last week and met with me and met with your utility committee, I believe. And so there's some issues there that I think they're beginning to talk and communicate a little more effectively between those two water programs, and hopefully that will be resolved. Mr. Hull gave me this afternoon, so you see a current update on these different projects. On the left side is the funding that goes back several years for STAG grant. He gave me a copy of the letter from Dallas. It's coming to me in the mail. It was faxed to him, where all this has been approved now between the Corps and the our Environmental Protection Agency office over in Dallas. And you see the allocation of $2.2 million that's been here for several years, with $500,000 of that going to Utility District Number 1. And if you recall, about 55% of that is our federal tax dollars, and about 45% of that is our local tax dollars. Now, in addition to the Donaldsonville tie-in to the jail and to the Donaldsonville sewer system, is allocated $500,000 for that. Hilleryville collection system, $650,000, and Darrah cost overruns $550,000. Of course, the Darrah project is ongoing now with the $1 million community block grant. On the other side, the Corps monies are Section 219 programs of the federal government. The environmental study, EID, they've added not just the East Bank but also the West Bank, trying to be proactive in having in place the environmental work so that when we have projects come up, we have this work cleared and we're ready to go. We have our programs in place, and Hartman Engineering is the ones primarily working on that, overseeing this wastewater thing. The next one, $225,000, is the Mississippi River Outfall Comprehensive Plan, the assistance with our sewer section in Public Works to help get people trained to work in the area of wastewater, current employees, money that they've been doing training people there, and then the $40,000 of franchising negotiations is the money that's been paid and their availability with Mr. Owens and URS and Earth Tech, who put together our franchise agreement that we gave to Mr. Owens. And that meeting, which was scheduled for next week, he's out of the country. It's been rescheduled tentatively for September 14th with Mr. Owens. And in program management, where Hartman Engineering is overseeing these various programs. That shows you a cost. So we'll have it before the end of September. As we're going through the budget process, Mr. Hull said we will have in our hands an outline of all these projects, the various phases, and he showed me a draft today which is going to really be good. It's going to go for the next 10 years or so. So we meet with members of Congress. They can see what phase of development we're in, what our anticipated funding is for that phase, so they can help pay for that. And you know, Congressman Baker is working right now, and our other representatives in what's called the water bill, or the WRDA, which is the wastewater and committees in Congress, EPA type of stuff, and water things. And so this overview will show them what we need and when we need it, so they can work with us for multi-year budgets. And it's very, very, very good what he showed me today, and how it really lets us know where we are and where we're trying to go and how much it's going to cost us to get there. The other thing we're sending you, on the jail, you'll have someone from the Coordinating the Justice Systems Concept Study that was done a while back on our jail situation in our entire judicial system. That presentation is tentatively scheduled for your first meeting in September, on what's happening with that. This next handout is something that was in the paper just like yesterday, I think, which vividly shows what is happening in our parish still as far as growth and retail home sales. I'm just going to highlight a couple of things. And the multiple listing service represents about 85% of the home sales in the Baton Rouge market. That's their estimation. This 8-parish area breaks down as follows. East Baton Rouge Parish, of course, sold the most homes during July, but they had a small drop from what they had sold July a year ago. The 531 homes that were sold during July averaged $153,000 average cost per home. Ascension Parish had a 24% increase in home sales July to July. 161 houses changing hands during July of this year. But what's really interesting is the average cost of those homes is $175,000 in the month of July. So you can see what the increase in our property value, primarily probably land, is probably one of the biggest factors attributing to that average cost per home. Livingston Parish, with 161 houses sold during the month of July, a 15% increase over July a year ago, and their average cost per house is $130,000. So you can see it. Now they do not have zoning and land use in Livingston Parish now, outside the city of Denham, and so more regulations obviously to the cost. So it gives you a pretty good breakdown, and then you see the other 5 parishes lumped together: West Baton Rouge, East and West Feliciana, Iberville, and Point Coupé. They sold a total of 51 houses, which was about 5 more than that same period a year ago. So it's a pretty good indication of what's happened in our parish and what's continuing to happen. And you'll see that Ascension Parish sales are up 20.2%. East Baton Rouge was 3.8, Livingston 7.1, and 1.6, and the other 5 combined. That's all I have to say right now. My opening remarks. If you have any questions for me on any of that, please feel free to ask them. Not to talk about some of these agenda items when we get into that, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Thompson.
Yes, President.
Yes, sir.
The Corps engineer, did they give you a timeline on the $500,000 for ACUD1 and the $650,000 for Harryville? When that money would be available?
That money, as soon as I sign this document coming from Dallas, since that's STAG money, that will become available. Yeah.
When that document going to be here?
They faxed it to them on like the 11th. I still haven't received it in the mail to sign the original, but he showed me the letter from Mr. Watson, and this same letter I'm receiving, just a fax copy, went to the court.
We ought to be doing a closure on the Darrow project in the next few months, so that 550,000 shortfall, they probably
We should have it
should have it.
shortly.
Thank you.
In addition, I failed to mention, remember they were also doing with the RS and EarthTech a feasibility study of us joining with the parish of Livingston and drilling our own wells. They received it in June, but Mr. Hall was not satisfied with some of the breakdowns, and so he's gone back and he instructed them to make it more parish-specific on breakdown of cost, and he said that he thinks that's going to be pretty positive, and we should have that by the end of the month or the 1st of September on the feasibility of doing that.
That was something that Councilman Dempsey Lambert initiated, right? I have to give him credit. Dempsey pushed that.
I think so. Any other questions for me, Mr. Chair?
Anyone else? Thank you, Mr. President. Number 8, Strategic Planning Committee, Chairman, Mr. Shea Snyder.
Oh, we did not meet since the last meeting.
All right. Personnel Committee, Mr. Valentine.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I do have a few recommendations from the Personnel Committee. First, we had some interviews dealing with the Industrial Development Board, which is already a board that has 3 openings. We interviewed 3 very competent people that are interested in working on the Industrial Board. First recommendation from the Personnel Committee is Mr. Don.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Shea Snyder, second by Mr. Byriver. Any questions? Any opposition? Having none, motion passes.
The second recommendation from the Personnel Committee meeting is Mr. Arthur Cooper.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Shea Snyder, second by Ms. Fino. Any question? Any opposition? Passes.
Third recommendation is a gentleman that actually lived in Donaldsonville and participated on Donaldsonville's industrial board and has moved to this side of the river now and would like to participate on this side, Mr. Dan Escobar.
So moved. Motion by Mr. Hillensbeck, second by Mr. Byriver. Any questions? Any opposition? Having none, passes.
Chairman, if you remember, Judge Claybear came to us several months ago with the discussion of the Children and Youth Services Board. We have interviewed some nominees for that board, and I do have in my presence 5 that the Personnel Committee will recommend. Most of you know, and you do have that on your paper in front of you. We have to have at least 1 member from the education community, 1 member from the criminal justice community, 1 member from the health community, 1 member from the social services community, a member from the faith-based community, and a member from the business and labor. So we actually have 5 that we're going to call out tonight. One that we have not filled yet would be a member that would be associated with the criminal justice community. So we will need to re-advertise for that, and so stipulate that in the advertisement that they have some experience dealing in or with the criminal justice system. Either side of the bar, it doesn't really matter. First one would be a member of the education community, and it's Ms. Ruby Cornish.
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Thompson, second by Mr. Shea Snyder. Any question? Any opposition? So passed.
Second recommendation is a member of the healthcare, and that would be Ms. Stacy Morrow.
Motion.
Second. Motion by Ms. Fontenot, second by Mr. Dempsey Lambert. Any question? Any opposition? So passed.
The third one would be from the member of the social services community. That would be Ms. Robbins DeLaw.
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Shea Snyder, second by Mr. Thompson. No, sir, I did not. Any questions? Any opposition? Motion passes.
Next would be a member of the faith-based community, and that would be Marion Johnson Miles.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Byriger, second by Mr. Thompson. Any question? Any opposition? Having none, passes.
And the last, and this lady actually duels for 2, but she is a principal at Central Elementary, but also in business, would be Ms. Rhonda Lamendo.
Motion by Mr. Hillensbeck, second by Mr. Byriger. Any questions? Any opposition? So passed.
Mr. Chairman, I would urge the council members to please
research and read over again the policy manual that the Personnel Committee met on Tuesday, and we went over that with Mr. Richard Brown, and have had some discussion with Mr. Brown and Mr. Roy Katz. We have had some compromises that the Personnel Committee wasn't real sure of, and we don't have a final draft on it, but please read what was handed out at the last council meeting. And if you have any questions, give me a call or give Mr. Roy Katz a call, Mr. Richard Brown, dealing with that, employees of the personnel. That's all, Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Valentine. Recreation, Mr. Thomas, is Vice Chair. Did they all have a meeting?
No, sir, no meeting.
Transportation Committee, Ms. Fontenot.
The Transportation met and were pleased to honor Representatives Eddie Lambert and Mert Smalley. They came and gave us an update on some of the projects that they're working on, and we're pleased to have them and welcome them back in the future. We have a few items to bring before the council. One is the authorization to accept bids for the clearing and grubbing of Boudreaux Road Phase 2.
Who made that motion? Motion by Mr. Thompson, second by Mr. Sixsnider. Any questions? Any opposition? Having none, motion passes.
We had requests for approvals for installing a three-way stop sign at the intersection of Silverstone and Woodstone Drive.
Motion. Motion by Mr. Dempsey Lambert, second by Mr. Thompson. Any questions? Any opposition? Having none, motion passes.
We have the installing of a four-way stop sign at the intersection of Silverstone Avenue and South Oakley Avenue Lane.
Motion by Mr. Byregger.
Second.
Second by Mr. Shakespeare. Any questions? Any opposition? Having none, motion passes.
I'd like to invite everybody to the next transportation meeting, which will be held on the second Tuesday of the month, 7 p.m. in this building. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Fontenot. Utility Committee, Mr. Thompson.
Yes, we had a meeting, and ACUD1 was present with also People Water. They had a discussion about territorial issues. Supposedly they're supposed to get together and try to work through that. And we asked for a timeline on when the $650,000 was going to be issued, and also the $500,000 for the ACUD1 and $550 shortfall for Darrow wastewater. So they're supposed to come back and let us know when those funds will be available. And basically, that's it. That's all we had.
Thank you. Finance, Mr. McConnell and Mr. McConnell. Someone wishing to speak on item B.
B.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. Well, then, item A, we had, at the last Finance Committee, we had an excellent presentation from representatives of our Economic Development Board. We had a very good discussion, a lot of give and take, and it was the recommendation of the Finance Committee to approve a cooperative endeavor agreement between the parish and the Economic Development Board.
Motion by Mr. Byregger, second by Mr. Shakespeare. Is there any question? Before we vote, I've been requested by the media for us to state the amount of money that the contract was for. Mr. President, do you remember?
I don't have it with
The budget.
Yeah. What's in the agreement for their actual cost?
341,000 even, I think. Jerry, let me just check.
For each of the 3 years?
Yes. Now, Ricky and I talked today, and we do have a. Why don't you take a minute, if we could, Mr. Chairman, on the 3-year issue, as far as.
Our recommendation is that the contract be slightly amended. The contract was generally well drafted, and we don't have a whole lot of problems with it, except that it is a multiple-year funding obligation. We would ask for a non-appropriation clause to put in the contract. If not, it may require bond commission approval. So we ask that you adopt the agreement with this amendment. I've talked to Dwight Poirier, who's representing the commission. He's in agreement with this, and he's going to just get us a final draft. So we ask you make the motion, or if you adopt it with this amendment. The term of this agreement shall be from September 1st, 2005 through August 31st, 2008. However, the parish may terminate the agreement within 30 days written notice, and the parish has no obligation to fund this agreement past the first year. Should the parish of Ascension fail to fund this endeavor in a subsequent year, past the initial year's funding, the agreement shall be void, and there shall be no further obligation owed by either party.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to amend my motion to have a non-appropriation clause. Sir.
Ms. Suzanne, you have that? Okay. Any further questions? Any opposition to the motion? Having none, motion passes.
I yield to item B to the Speaker.
I've got Ms. Catherine Gotham on 13B.
Good evening, council members, President Hughes, citizens. Last week at the Council Transportation Committee, it was announced that Ascension State elected officials, in conjunction with Ascension Parish Sheriff's Office, have identified 25 dangerous intersections in our parish. Woman Fontenot mentioned this in her report. I wanted to bring it to the attention of the full council. According to Representative Smiley's office, Entergy and Demco are reviewing this list, and they will bring back projected costs to get approval to spend state revenue to place lights at these 25 intersections. Our Ascension lawmakers are working to get state funding to place, operate, and maintain lights at these locations at no additional cost to the Ascension taxpayers. I would commend Representative Quizer, Lambert, and Smiley, and Senator Amade, along with the Sheriff's Department, for working for the safety of the community to provide these services without any additional tax burdens on the people. Now that it has become apparent that other sources of funding are available for lighting in our parish, why should we continue to pursue the establishing and funding of lighting districts? Item 13B, to approve an ordinance for Lighting District 8 to adopt a millage rate of 0.00 mils, is really totally unnecessary and makes no sense. I have the ordinance here in my hand that was delivered to the Finance Committee, and this ordinance only relates to assessment during the 2005 budget year. There's only one more election in October, that's this year, and there's no proposition on that ballot to fund the Lighting District 8. The Ascension community, especially the Prairieville residents, should be aware that the defeat of the Lighting District number 8 has not left our elected officials without other options to address the needs in our parish. 25 dangerous intersections are being considered for lighting without the passing of another tax. This is progress. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, before we move on, I'd like to respond.
Mr. Hillenbeck.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just so the people of Prairieville understand, Lighting District number 8, of these intersections that Representative Smiley and the others have worked together to get this grant money or this funding, there's only one intersection going to be addressed. I believe it's the intersection John Broussard Road and Highway 42. We have many dangerous intersections up in Lighting District number 8. Lighting District number 8 was passed by this council as an ordinance, and it was unanimously adopted. All council members voted for the ordinance. It is a lighting district that has been created due to shenanigans that went on in the election, false information being mailed out. At this point, it is unfunded. However, it is correct to list it as a lighting district along with the other districts and other taxes that are being collected. It's proper to list it at 0 mils because at this point it is unfunded. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. McConnell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And it was the recommendation to introduce as an ordinance the lighting, the entire millages as listed there. And there was an amendment that was passed. The item that is in your packet was supposed to have include Lighting District number 8, and it's not on there, but it was the recommendation of the Finance Committee that this ordinance be introduced as presented with the inclusion of Lighting District number 8 reflecting 0.00 mils. And that's the recommendation of the Finance Committee.
Yeah.
Right. Just include it as an unfunded at this point.
And so we offer that as a motion.
I second.
Motion by Mr. McConnell, second by Mr. Hillensback. Any questions? Any opposition? Having none, motion passes.
All right, we had item number 13C was to approve a clarification on previously adopted motions which would allocate $200 per month for the 2004 through 2006 years and 2005 through 2007 emergency shelter grants, and that's transferring from utility assistance to rent assistance.
Motion by Mr. Byrigger, second by Mr. Dempsey Lambert. Any question? Any opposition? Having none, motion passes.
And item D, the Finance Committee reviewed a contract for drug and alcohol testing between Ascension Parish and the Comprehensive Occupational Medicine Evaluation and Testing for 1 year beginning January 1, 2005, and it was a recommendation to adopt that.
Motion by Mr. Thompson,
Second.
second by Mr. Shakespeare. Any question? Any opposition? Motion passes.
After a presentation by the Siemens organization, it was the recommendation of the Finance Committee to appoint Siemens as the energy service company for Ascension Parish.
Motion by Mr. Byrigger, second by Mr. Dempsey Lambert. Any questions?
Comment, Mr. Chairman. I just need to make sure I understand it.
Mr. President.
We're not committing any money here. We haven't reviewed any contract. We're just making an appointment.
Sir, as the vote went down at the Finance Committee, there were no obligations made, there were no commitments made. It was simply stated that, as I understood it, and I thought I did, was we were appointing Siemens almost as our consultant in this endeavor, and if we choose to take future endeavors in energy conservation, that Siemens is our agent of record.
Thank you, Mr. McConnell.
Any further questions? Any opposition? Having none, motion passes.
And then we had our annual presentation from the Capital Area Legal Services Corporation, and it was the recommendation of the Finance Committee to approve the cooperative endeavor agreement.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Byrigger, second by Mr. Shakespeare. Any questions? Any opposition? Having none, motion passes.
And that's our report, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McConnell. Number 14, public hearing to consider an ordinance expanding the Ascension Parish litter control ordinance to include signs wrongly placed in public rights-of-way. Mr. Babbitt.
The ordinance is to expand the Ascension Parish litter control ordinance to include signs wrongfully placed in public rights-of-ways. Whereas the litter control ordinance has its purpose the health, safety, and welfare of its citizens by eliminating unsightly refuse, removing areas that foster disease, improve property values, keep the roadway and waterway rights-of-way clear, and prevent the obstruction of the right-of-way. Whereas the illegal placement of signs in the parish rights-of-ways is a risk to the public by obstructing the sight of motorists, prevention of the mowing and cleaning of ditches by parish mowing machines, hitting the signs, sign stakes. Therefore, be it ordained that section 11-81 of the Ascension Parish Code of Ordinances is amended as follows. 11-81. As used in this article, the following words have the meanings ascribed to them unless the context requires otherwise. Dispose means throw, discard, place, deposit, discharge, burn, dump, drop, eject, or allow the escape of a substance defined as litter. Judge, shall mean a district court judge, parish court judge, or justice of the peace, all of whom have express authority to adjudicate alleged violations of this article. Litter means all waste material, including but not limited to disposable packages, containers, sand, gravel, rubbish, paper, cans, bottles, refuse, garbage, trash, debris, dead animals, furniture, appliances, automobile parts, tires, engines, trailers, boats, boating accessories, tools, equipment, building materials, or other discarded materials of any kind and description. Litter shall also include all signs, including but not limited to signs for sale, rent, realtor signs, garage sale, political signs, business signs placed in any public right-of-way. Litter shall not include agricultural products which are being transferred from harvest to collection site to a processing or market site if reasonable measures are taken to prevent agricultural product from leaving the transported vehicle. Litter shall not also not include recyclable cardboard being transported in compressed bundles to processing facilities. Agricultural product used in this definition means all crops, livestock, poultry, forestry, or other aquacultural, floricultural, horticultural, silvicultural, or viticultural products. Litter detail shall mean a penalty which is imposed by the judge for violation of this article. It means a collection. Litter is defined herein from public property. Litter shall be collected within a reasonable area as designated by the judge. The judge shall require verification of compliance with litter detail penalty by affidavit of the violator. Local governing authority means the governing authority for the parish of Ascension. Public property means any property, right-of-way of any road, highway, levee, body of water course, or the shores or beaches thereof, any park, playground, building, refuge, conservation or recreation area, residential or farm properties, timberlands, or forest.
Do I hear a motion to open the public hearing? Motion to open the public hearing, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Dempsey Lambert, second by Mr. Byringer. Any opposition? Having none, motion passes. Anyone wishing to speak on this public hearing?
Motion closed.
Mr. Chairman.
Motion by Mr. Thompson, second by Mr. Byringer, to close the public hearing. Any opposition to closing the public hearing? Having none, motion passes. Number 15, the ordinance itself.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Byringer, second by Ms. Fontenot. To accept the ordinance, question, Mr. McConnell.
What are silvicultural products, Mr. Bass?
I'll have to get back with you on that.
I'll reserve my vote.
Any opposition to the motion? Having none, motion passes. Number 16, public hearing to consider an ordinance rezoning property located on the east side of Louisiana Highway 73, approximately 1,000 feet south of Seabro Road, to amend the parish zoning map from medium intensity to mixed use of Tract B of the Adele Landry Clean, Joseph L. Clean succession for Lafitte Apartments, LLC. Zoning review ID 129805. Mr. Babin.
To amend the Ascension Parish zoning map by rezoning a certain parcel of land from medium-intensity residential (RM) to mixed-use (MU). Whereas the Parish of Ascension has in effect a comprehensive plan of zoning, and pursuant to that plan, the parish-wide development code was adopted by the Ascension Parish Governing Authority, which became effective on June 1st, 1999. Whereas the Ascension Parish Development Code provides for a procedure for the amendment to allow the rezoning of property to a different classification. Whereas, and herein below described property is located as such, that rezoning the property is in conformity with adjacent land uses, in conformity with the general land use plan of the parish, not injurious to adjacent properties, and fully meets the qualifications of rezoning set forth in Louisiana law. Be it ordained that the following described property be rezoned from medium-intensity residential (RM) to mixed-use (MU). It is zoning ID 1298.05, Tract B of the Adele Landry Clean, Joseph Clean succession for Lafitte Apartments, LLC. It's in Council District 4. Legal description is attached here too. Be it further ordained that the land use map for the Ascension Parish Development Code is amended to reflect these rezonings, and that the Office of Planning and Zoning be authorized to make such changes.
Move to open the public hearing.
Motion by Mr. McConnell, open the public hearing. Second. Second by Mr. Dempsey Lambert. Any opposition? Having none, motion passes. Anyone wishing to speak on this public hearing?
Motion closed, Mr. Chairman.
Motion by Mr. Hillensbeck, second by Mr. Byringer, to close the public hearing. Any opposition? Having none, motion passes.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr.
excuse me, before you
Valentine.
continue, we made this correction when we looked at this before, Ricky. It says District Council 4, but it's actually District Council 8. It's in my
Okay. With that amendment.
immediate amendment.
You've got that, Ms. Suzanne? Okay.
Move the ordinance, Mr. Chairman, with the amendment. Second.
We've got motion by Mr. Hillensbeck, second by Mr. Byringer, to approve the ordinance with the amendment. Any opposition? Having none, motion passes. Number 18, public hearing to consider an ordinance repealing the ordinance that created the Ascension Parish Recreation Governing Board. Mr. Babbitt.
Gentlemen and lady, if you create something by ordinance, you have to uncreate it by ordinance or dissolve it by ordinance, and that's what this is for. It's to repeal an ordinance creating the Ascension Parish Recreation Governing Board. Be it ordained by the Ascension Parish Council, the governing authority union for the parish of Ascension, hereby repeals the ordinance creating the Ascension Parish Recreation Governing Board. Said ordinance adopted by the Ascension Parish Governor on May 15, 1997. Be it further ordained that this act abolishes the Ascension Parish Recreation Governing Board and the powers granted to them by the governing authority.
Motion to open the public hearing. Motion by Mr. Byringer, second by Mr. Dempsey Lambert, to open the public hearing. Any opposition? Having none, motion passes. Anyone wishing to speak on this public hearing?
Motion closed.
Motion by Mr. Thompson. Second by Mr. Byrie to close the public hearing. Number 20, on the ordinance repealing an ordinance that created the Central Parish Recreation Governing Board.
I move the ordinance.
Motion by Mr. McConnell, second by Mr. Hillensbeck? Mr. Hillensbeck. Any questions? Any opposition? Having none, motion passes. Number 20, public hearing to consider an ordinance authorizing donations through a cooperative endeavor agreement for Homeland Security grants. Mr. Babin.
I've been preaching to you since I knew you that you can't donate public funds. We're doing this through a cooperative endeavor agreement. Under this grant, the Homeland Security grant, they give certain property. Ms. Quinn, isn't like radios and emergency equipment, vehicles, radios, emergency equipment after the 911 terrorist attacks. These grants, they have to use the parish as a flow-through entity. So what they do is they give them to the parish can give them to the sheriff's office or any other response-type agency. In order to do that, we've done a contract agreement. Can't give away public property. Once they get it, it becomes ours. So we get a cooperative endeavor agreement, basically saying, if you're a sub-grantee, we're giving you the equipment, and you will use it in this fashion, i.e., to fight fires or attacks or other emergency type of situations. In order to make the transfer, we thought we ought to adopt it by ordinance, and it says to allow the Parish of Ascension to accept grant funds and other property pursuant to the Homeland Security Grants Fund Program, and allow these items to the applicable enforcement agencies to use those assets to protect the health, safety, and welfare of the public. Be it ordained that the Ascension Parish Council in lawful session hereby authorizes the donation as a flow-through entity, those assets given to it pursuant to the sub-grant agreement for Homeland Security Program funds under such terms and conditions as outlined in the sub-grant agreement attached hereto, made a part hereof as Exhibit A, and any amendments thereto. Be it further ordained that this grant of authority shall apply to these assets acquired and dispersed to all entities that qualified and are authorized to receive those assets pursuant to the grant rules approved by the Ascension Parish President and the entity completing the necessary agreements.
Motion to open public hearing, Mr. Chairman.
Motion by Mr. Byrie to open the public hearing.
Second.
Second by Mr. McConnell. Any opposition? Having none, motion passes. Anyone wishing to speak on this public hearing?
Motion closed, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Byrie, second by Mr. McConnell, to close the public hearing. Any opposition to the motion? Any questions? Any opposition? Motion passes. Number 21, the ordinance itself. Motion by Mr. McConnell, second by Mr. Byrie. Is there any questions?
I have a question.
Ms.
I'm
Montgomery?
just curious. It says attached here to Exhibit A. What is Exhibit A?
No. We don't have, I don't have it here.
I didn't put the package.
No.
I'll let Ricky read. That's too much to read.
Oh, it's a lot. I mean, I had a copy at home. I had one emailed to me, but I don't have it with me.
The agreement's about 25 pages long, so we'd rather not.
I was just asking where it was and why I didn't have it.
I had an email copy. Yeah, I've seen it. And you don't have a copy, Ricky?
Oh, yes, sir. We reviewed it.
No, I'm talking about with you.
Yes, sir.
Okay. What's the emergency on acting on this tonight? Or is there an emergency on acting on this tonight?
None that I know of.
Mr. President?
Jim, is there
Yeah.
time deadline here on this?
I withdraw my motion, Mr. Chairman, and move to extend the public hearing to the next council.
Second.
Motion by Mr. McConnell, second by Mr. Byrie to extend this public hearing to the next council meeting. Any opposition? Having none, motion passes. Number 22, public hearing to consider an ordinance providing for a sewer impact fee on all new tie-ins to parish-owned sewer systems. Mr. Babbitt.
This is to impose an initial connect fee on all residences that connect to parish-owned and/or operated sewer systems. Whereas the Parish of Ascension has in operation several sewer systems which provide for sewer wastewater treatment to residences. But there's a cost associated with the connecting of each resident to the sewer system, including excavation, piping, connection, testing, and other work. Parish of Ascension wishes to establish a uniform fee for the connecting of residences to publicly owned and operated sewer systems. Be it ordained by the Ascension Parish Council in lawful session as the governing authority for the Parish of Ascension hereby sets a sewer connect fee on all parish-owned or operated sewer systems at $500 per residence.
Do I hear a motion to open public hearing? Motion by Mr. McConnell, second by Mr. Valentine, open public hearing. Any opposition to the motion? Having none, motion passes. Anyone wishing to speak on this public hearing?
I move to close the public hearing.
Second.
Motion by Mr. McConnell, second by Ms. Fontenot to close the public hearing. Is there any opposition? Having none, motion passes. Number 23, the ordinance itself.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Shakespeare.
the ordinance is listed as a sewer impact fee,
That's
and
right.
in effect, it's a sewer connect fee, and that is a difference. We're in the process of implementing transportation impact fees, and I don't want people to confuse that. This is a connect fee, not an impact fee. And there's a difference. And I would like to have the title as a connect fee.
If I could make a comment, Mr. Chairman, on that. Actually, the present ordinance uses the verbiage of sewer impact fee going back to the first subdivision that was turned over to the parish. And I think if you look at the ordinance itself, Suzanne just pointed out,
I understand what it says, but
initial connect fee is what the ordinance will read. But the present ordinance, the oldest one we could find, actually had sewer impact fee, which caught my attention too.
right.
But that's what it was. And so this is a cleanup thing in a way, trying to get consistency between, we have 1, 2, I guess we'll have 4 when Dara comes online, Hillersville, we'll have 4 or 5 publicly owned wastewater systems, so we charge the same. And when we did our financial research, there was some concern that maybe we're charging our citizens more than we should or need to. We actually are spending more than $500, a little bit more each time we do a connection. The contractor goes out if we're paying for it. The ordinance itself does use connect fee now, but the old ordinance was a sewer impact fee.
That cover sheet is not part of this law. The ordinance itself says connect fee.
I got you.
That cover sheet is for your ease of finding the documents within your own package.
Okay,
The
thank you.
ordinance itself says connect fee.
That's fine.
Mr. Thompson.
Voting on this ordinance, does that stop a private plumbing company to go in and make a tie-in?
Still got paid.
Okay.
That's what we're using now.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We're not doing that. I mean, we don't have parish employees doing that.
Mr. Byron.
Question, Mr. Chairman? Yes. If the private company's tying it in, you still have to pay it to the parish, correct? So then you, in essence, you'd be paying twice?
No, not
No.
not if
Sure.
they're
Well, you got to pay the private plumbing company, plus you got to pay the parish.
You have to pay a connect fee only if you connect. It's a connect fee. If you don't connect, I see no reason why.
Let's ask Mr. Rupert Cook here to make sure we all understand this.
I think what Mr. Byron is trying to say, Mr. Chairman, is in an ordinary situation, if you pay a $500 connect fee, then somebody from the parish or the city or the municipality comes and connects you. But what he's saying is you're paying a $500 connect fee, and then you're paying a private plumbing contractor to connect you, so the fee is actually going to be more. I believe that is, yes, that's the point you're trying to make.
That's a good point. Well, Mr. Root, do you have, see if you can help us out here. The question is, as far as this connect fee of $500, is that in addition to the owner hiring a private plumber to come in and tie in?
As it's written, yes, it is.
I think we need to
Fee for
send it
connect-
back to you,
And
too.
setting the account up and doing things like this. It's all one, they have to pay it no matter what. And that's the way they've been working. Mr. Bourgeois has been involved with the connect fees and Trailer Land.
All right, well, Mr. Babin, right here it says, hereby sets the sewer connect fees on all parish-owned and/or operated sewer system. How do you interpret that as far as
Parish
the...
owns and/or operated. My understanding is we have 3 parish,
Without the jail.
jails, leave that aside, there's no connectivity on that one, you get invited there.
Maybe we should charge it there. Have we keep it off.
The 3 systems that we operate are the only 3 that's contemplated. I just use all parish-owned systems in case the 4th one comes online, a 5th one, a 6th one, a 7th one, we don't have to go and amend this ordinance.
I interpret it as if I move into that system area and I go to hook up, I'm going to pay the parish $500. The parish is going to turn around and hook it up.
That is correct. No, you're going to pay the parish $500. I always assumed that was the money for reimburse the parish the cost of getting, I guess, to do what they have to do to get it to,
You're done with them.
I guess, to the backside. You have to pay to hook your own sewer system into our system.
Okay. Mr. Byron.
Yeah, the point is, right now it's okay when we're doing a neighborhood system like Trail Land or whatever it may be, but when we start running lines in our parish and I build a house on this road, I have to pay somebody to tie into the line, and then I have to pay the parish $500. That's the point I'm trying to make.
I understand what point you're making.
Let's look to the future a little bit.
Okay. Mr. Thompson.
I suggest we send it back to committee.
I second that.
You got a motion by Mr. Thompson, second by Mr. Shakespeare, to send it back to Utilities Committee. Any further questions?
Just a clarification, we have our building official here, and I see he stepped forward. I'd like to just, if Mr. Laverne Bourgeois has some clarification of this, Laverne, is there something you can add to this discussion?
Yeah, this is a present ordinance we have already in place, but it only identifies a certain area. Now, as Ricky explained it identifies all treatment plants owned by the parish. And when in the past they came and bought a permit, $500. They had the option of installing their own tie-ins, or if they want to employ a contractor, they have that option as well. So it's confusing to the effect that when they're open lots in the past subdivision, they had grant monies with tying in those that qualified. Those that didn't qualify got permits in the time while the construction was going on to be tied in free of charge. But after the companies moved out, we're in operation. The actual tie-in of a new homeowner coming in, putting a new home or dwelling on a place, that particular tie-in, we go identify the spot, we mark it for, and it's at their discretion to either tie it in themselves or hire a contractor to do the work. We come back and inspect, make sure it's tied in correctly, and have them cover it up. And then that's just been in operation at the other plants along with what this was going to be.
And
I think that Mr. Thompson's motion, I believe, is in order. That there's a little confusion here. Let's just clean it up, have it polished up at Mr. Thompson's committee, and they can come back to us again.
All right. Any opposition to the motion? Having none, motion passes. Number 24, introduction of ordinance adopting the changes in the tables of the Ascension Parish Development Code. Mr. Babin.
This is to amend and consolidate 3 tables into 2 tables. There were some, as I understand it, and Lance explained this to me, the purpose of this was for, there were some inconsistencies between Table C and Tables A and B. These are the permitted uses tables and the setback and other restriction tables in our zoning code. It says to amend and consolidate Table A, Table B, and Table C of the Ascension Parish Development Code into Tables A and B to regulate permitted uses by district and site requirements by district. The Parish of Ascension presently has in effect the Ascension Parish Development Code, which includes Table A regulating permitted uses by district, and Table B, which regulates site requirements by district, and Table C, which also regulates site requirements by district. And such tables now in existence contain conflicting provisions. Therefore, due to the discrepancies in Tables A, B, and C of the Ascension Parish Development Code, cause for concern in the enforcement of such tables, be it ordained by the Ascension Parish that the Ascension Parish Development Code be amended to eliminate Table C and to consolidate the former A, B, and C into Tables A and B only. That's a lot of words to say that we're eliminating Table C because there were some conflicting provisions in it between the other 2 tables. And these are simply permitted uses and the actual site requirements.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Shea Snyder to open public hearing, second by Mr. Oh, I'm sorry, introduction. Second by Mr. Valentine. Is there any question? Is there any opposition? Having none, motion passes. 25, introduction of ordinance, amending the code of ordinance in section 1841.
I move to introduce the ordinance.
Second.
Motion by Mr. McConnell, second by Mr. Byringer. Is there any question? Any opposition? Question, Mr. Shea Snyder.
Well, I would like to just make an announcement before we go about the meeting times that I did not say earlier. On strategic planning, wanted everybody to know that we're meeting on August the 29th. Normally we meet on the 4th Monday, but we had agreed to meet on the 29th because we have a guest speaker explaining what had been done in the past on the Charter Commission, and that was the time they could come. So just let people know that it's on the 29th.
What time?
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock.
Yes, Monday.
All right.
And at the same night, we got impact fee Duncan and social coming in.
No, that's the 31st.
Tuesday the 30th. Okay. I need to make one announcement.
All right, let's
We need
finish
to
this
vote
up.
on that
Let's
first.
finish up. Is there any opposition to the motion to introduce the ordinance? Having none, motion passes. One more, number 26, which is the courthouse. Mr. McConnell, you want to take that up?
Well, I'd like to
Or Bill Rue?
ask Mr. Bill Rue.
Yes,
Did you miss that?
Okay, go ahead. Mr. Chairman, members of council, on August 4th, 2005, bids were received for to complete the renovation of the courthouse, which included both the council chambers and exterior work that wasn't completed for the other project. So it's a combination of two, not just the council chambers, it's actually completing work on outside too. There were 5 qualified bidders. The lowest qualified bidder was Brian Bush Construction for the amount of $657,900. Administration requests acceptance of that bid.
So moved, Mr. Chairman. Motion by Mr. Denton Lambert, second by Mr. Hillingsbeck. Any questions? Any opposition? Having none, motion passes.
Thank you.
Mr. President.
I apologize, forgot to remind everyone, Monday at the Mark Dixon Administration Building upstairs in the banquet room, Senator David Bitter will be there for a luncheon. We'll be being hosted by yourselves, myself, the Ascension Chamber, and the Donaldsonville Chamber, so all of you can be there Monday at noon. Thank you very much.
Motion adjourned, Mr. Chairman.
Motion by Mr. Byringer, second by Mr. McConnell, adjourned. Any opposition? Having none, motion passes.